This mixer sounds absolutely terrible. And it's stalling out. Take a look. Let's open this baby up and see what's going on in there. So this is a KitchenAid Professional 600. Now we're going to remove this screw here in the back, which allows us to take off this beauty band and reveals 4 screws around the casing that we also need to remove. And once those screws are out, we can go ahead and separate these housings. And this is what we're left with on the inside. And I'm 100% certain all of those issues are coming from this gearbox right here. So we need to go ahead and remove 4 more screws to gain access. And once all of those screws are out, we can kind of weasel this transmission cover out of place. Now I can tell just by looking at this thing, we got some major issues going on. Now in the transmission cover here lies the hub gear. Take a look, every single one of these teeth is just ground down to the nubs. Now for reference, this is what a new one should look like. Now let's go ahead and remove this worm gear. So this is just a floating gear. It just pulls out of place. Now the worm gear actually looks pretty good. I don't see any damage on it. This is the strongest gear in that gearbox, so we don't see them breaking down much. So it appears the reason why this gear was getting all chewed up is because there's supposed to be a snap ring right here, and it looks like it broke out of place, allowing that gear to float up. You see that gap there? It's not supposed to be like that. Now the hub gear and the bevel gear, they ride together like this. But because this gear was able to float up, it caused those gears to just have a ton of extra pressure when they were riding against each other, causing them both to just blow up. If you take a look right here, you can see these teeth are just absolutely fractured. Look at that, they're just falling apart. I scraped some of this grease off here. I can just feel in my fingers just chunks of gears all in that grease. Take a look, there's 2 chunks of those gears right there. Now usually this gear should just pull up and away, but this is seized, which is caused by debris getting between this gear and the shaft. If you look right there, right here, ouch, that was sharp. Take a look here, you can just see a score mark all the way around this planetary, which was caused by some of those metal shavings getting in there and just grinding on it every time it rotated. And right here is that little shard of metal that just cut my finger. Now because this is seized, to get that gear to raise up, we had to pry a little bit, which revealed this little pin right here. We're gonna have to remove that. Even this pin was riding a little funny. Look at these corners right here. See how they're just kind of squared off? Now to get those gears off, we're gonna have to do a little percussive maintenance. Alright, we got that planetary out. And now you can definitely see those score marks. Take a look at that. That's just eaten right into that planetary. There's one right here as well. Now we were able to get those gears out as well. So this is the worm follower gear. This is usually the gear that strips. Surprisingly, it looks pretty good. But the hub and the bevel gear are absolutely shot. I've been scraping this thing. This is all metal shavings and chunks that are coming out from between these gear teeth. And if we take a look up in the gearbox, you see that's all metal shavings right there, and then there's some metal shavings there as well. We're gonna have to go ahead and replace all of this. But first we'll have to come through and get all of this old grease out because, well, we don't want any metal shavings left in this gearbox. Now, unfortunately, none of this stuff can be removed, so, well, we're gonna have to pitch it. I mean, take a look at this giant, jagged hunk of metal. If we didn't fully clean this out, this would get mixed right back into the new gears and just destroy them immediately. There we go, that's looking nice and clean. Time for some new grease. Plop. Let's put this thing back together. We're gonna slide this planetary up into place. Then drop on our worm follower gear, slide our pin into place, and follow it up with the bevel gear. And we'll rotate that just slightly just to make sure we get a good seat. And then we'll secure those into place with a snap ring. Time for a little more grease. Now she's looking healthy. Next, to drop this worm gear into place. Now remember, if you need any parts or supplies, we have all of this stuff available on our website, along with a bunch of full-length tutorials to walk you right through these steps. Or if you're not the DIY type, you can always send it in to us for repair. Now that the lower transmission is taken care of, we'll go ahead and we'll just plop in our new hub gear and give that a nice healthy coating as well. Let's go ahead and drop this transmission back down into place. We want to make sure that this is fully seated, which it is. Now before we put everything back together, we always want to test it right here so we don't have to take more apart. Oh, she is sounding beautiful. Let's stitch it back up. We'll go ahead and put the upper housing on, and then screw it back down into place. Now she's still a little bit dirty, just how I like them. And just like that, this baby is looking and running brand new. So if you're looking for a mixer or you need one repaired, make sure to check out our website, MrMixer.store.